Hello and welcome. Today we're playing Shadow Empire. We're playing on a last planet generated file from one of the viewers. This is supposed to be a Colossal Archipelago map. So this is the default name and title and whatever from the last planet generated file. If you just run the file, the only thing I'm going to change is I'm going to change the symbol, and that's it. We're going to press OK. History of the people, it's going to give us the choice between enforcement, government, and commerce, just as usual. I'm going to keep this fairly simple. We're going to basically go like commerce, mind, and merit. This last planet generated file, I believe, was also started on a previous save. So some of the things might not technically work. I think the saves are compatible across the save, so it shouldn't really break anything. If you're watching on Twitch, if you go, I think actually technically the previous Reddit poll, I think I forgot to put the comment or copy and paste the link to this last planet generated file. But this last planet generated file should be publicly available. I'll go update Reddit with the link. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll have it in the description. So if you're looking for the link, you can go grab it in there. The link to where you can download this last planet generated file if you want to play along with us. Again, this was a last planet generated file, I believe, generated on one of the previous patches. So before Mayhem was released. So this is Solis's State. Round 1, we have 3 decisions awaiting us and 67 reports. Because we're on the most recent patch, we have a few images. That's a new image that can pop up. And there is some choice changes in here. It's not always exactly the same. Apparently the advice resets every time you load. The audio, I think, did it as well. Yes, the audio did as well. So I think loading with someone else's last planet generated file, it defaults to their last settings. We're going to turn some of these settings down so it's a little bit less loud. That's the sound settings I run with. Or at least the sound settings I've decided to run with today. We're going to turn the advice off, because I'm remembering to turn them off. So this is our starting area. I believe this is a Tech 3 start. So we started with infantry, machine guns, motorized transports, and buggies developed, and just the early tech. So yes, this does look like a Tech 3 start. And I went merit, commerce, mind to start with. Oh, there's a nearby volcano, so we may have some power there. We can see that we've got a territory next to us, non-aligned forces, and territory. So these could be slavers, mutants, various nomads. We don't know what they are yet. Depending upon what they are, we may or may not want to piss them off. Mutants, for example, are usually pretty easy to piss off, and aren't too bad. We went commerce, so I'm going to do the commerce option here. I think this is one of the ones that can RNG change up on you.
Sir, yes, sir.
Faction candidate is not one that always pops up. This is one that I've had pop up this time. I haven't had actually loaded it up a couple times to make sure it loads properly. So the planet I think will be the same. Some of the events won't be. You get different RNGs every time you load it. So we'll just take that candidate. Org decisions. I probably want the Eco Council right away. Especially if you got territories next to us. If you have miners that you might be able to do diplomacy with, foreign affairs can be tempting. I'm not going to immediately jump to OMG. I think I need tanks, which would be what we'd want light model design for. So we're going to do
yes, sir.
And then I usually run with show. Which one is it? Show on. Okay, so that's not showing because we don't have any roads. That's what's going on. That would normally highlight where you would be getting adequate supply from. It's not going to show here because we don't have roads. Okay, so I think there's someone in that hex. Let's not immediately go jumping into the hex. And I probably do want that volcano, so I'm going to splurge if I take the volcano. And I don't want to take too much territory off of these territories in case they're ones we can do some sort of mild diplomacy with. But we do want to push our territory out. Ideally, we want to be out to 3, so we want to be out to there, and out to there. So we got the volcano. We're not going to be able to make use of the volcano for a while. We've seen some ruins here. This is an ocean with a maritime trading house. This is an oceanic, Oceania, the sea planet. So at some point we're going to want to be setting up a road down to the ocean and probably get a port set up on it. Let's actually go through some of the planetology stuff that we didn't get to see because we didn't make this planet. So this is a 1.27G planet. Average temperature is 53 C, so this is a swelteringly hot planet. Pretty good solar radiance, although I don't know what's sort of Earth normal there. 2 billion year age, 64% elements. So we're going to have a little bit of a problem, maybe with metals. Geology, we in theory have some rain, some decent rain. 2,000 millimeters average in some places. Biosphere, forests. Atmosphere is incapacitation. There is sapient life on this planet. Population during colonization got up to 57 million, and 4 million actually survived the apocalypse. So this planet's going to have about 4 times, a little bit more over 4 times than what we had on the last run. So no outdoor farming, because there's no farming hazard. Okay, so hazardous to humans, but not to plants. Plants will be fine. Although it's probably a bit warm for farming. Atmosphere combat level is 2. Xenobiology combat level is 8. Okay, so we can't breathe the atmosphere, but we actually probably could eat the animals. Interesting. Agricultural crop details. Yeah, so ideally we need it between 10 and 30 C for farming. It's actually 10 and 40 for xenobiological crops. Fuzzy wax siliconoid structures, okay. Statistic overview. No particular biohazards, okay. Rain scarcity is regular, oxygen scarcity is 2. Water is acidic, so not necessarily going to be expecting to get great yields from the rain in the lakes. Biosphere details. I think that's all the information we're going to realistically glean from that. We are starting... 11 major regimes on here. So this is a pretty fragmented map. We are at the Colossal state. So we are actually starting in second to last. We're starting in 10th spot on the polling. We'll see how high we can get, how quickly we can get going. We have a water deposit, and we don't think we can find anything else, which is maybe not particularly good. We may have problems if that continues. And we started up the... Okay, we got a cult. So the story pack, at least one of the story packs, is turned on. Mystic Temple Cult started up. Okay. And our city's called York. Yeah, so rain quality because of the pH is being reduced by 96%. Oh, the river is 96%. Okay. So in theory we can get a little bit of water out of this, but we're not going to get much. Yeah, because the river is apparently a little bit better than the rain itself. Water quality from the ocean is about 2%. Yeah, we're gonna get some water, so we're probably not gonna have water problems early on. And I think that's gonna be our early posturing there. Construction-wise, this portion of the planet at least is too hot for open farming, which is not surprising. It's 71 degrees C here. The planetary average was 53, so we must be pretty close to the equator here. It's just an approximate. Might get a little bit colder at the extremes. Does the biosphere... No, it would be this one, yeah. Yeah, so we must be pretty close to the core, the equator, because we're close to the tropical temperatures. If we get closer to the Arctic or Antarctic, those areas will probably be farmable on this planet. And may be farmable with both alien and xeno farms. Not where we're starting though. Wind traps, we need water. We haven't found any mines yet. We see trees, so we can do some organic furnaces. Nothing else out of the ordinary. Also partially checking to make sure that it's completely broken. Okay. So let's cycle the turn. Let's see how the situation evolves. I suspect we've got something in the ruins here that we'll have to fight off. Because I do kind of want that ruin early on. That's going to be the earliest source of reliable metal or enhancement, I think. So the Shadow Empire stream tonight, I think it's going to be a single-parter. I think it's going to go live the same day we did. We'll put up the last part of the Free Coal run, so hopefully no spoilers if you're watching on YouTube. That part should probably be up today. The run ends. I'm not going to spoil whether or not we got our independence or not, but for those who are watching live on Twitch, you can go over and see it. And if you're watching live on YouTube, I think this is already been, or the free call part should already been uploaded by the time this goes live. So you should have been able to have the opportunity to go see that. So this is a big planet, so we're seeing that at least the intern takes a decently long time. That's one thing that can happen, which makes interns sometimes a little bit boring when you're working on a very large planet and you don't know much of it yet. We don't. Forget what the viewer who submitted this also told me what the game speed, development speed was. I think it was like slow development speed. It's not like the slowest or epic or whatever the lowest speed is, which was one of the results on the poll. I put up a poll. Hopefully everyone knows about the poll. 3 of the results, if you go look at the poll, you'll see that the 3 of the 5 results, I think, tied with 8 votes. Technically, one of those 3, which was the Epic Slow Seth, was the one I voted on. Not because I necessarily wanted it to win, but because to see the vote results, I need to vote on one. Well, to see the vote results before the poll closes, I needed to vote on one. So I voted on that one, so I could see the poll results, expecting it not to get a lot of votes. So technically, we had an 8, an 8, and a 7. I think one thing got no votes. And then the 4th place got 2, effectively. So it was a tie between doing this Colossal Archipelago and one of the other ones, which was Some Aliens, I think was the other one that got 8 votes. And it was Some Aliens on Mayhem. So this patch this is being recorded in is the one that added Mayhem mode. So this last planet generator file, I believe, was made on the patch before they added Mayhem. So this doesn't have Mayhem turned on. Most of the other things that were running in the poll had Mayhem as an additional modifier on it. So we're not playing with Mayhem, but we probably will in the future. I'll probably run the other poll result, the one that tied with this one, as the next game of Shadow Empire. So there probably won't be another Shadow Empire poll following this run, because we'll actually do another run. I decided to go with this one because obviously, as this is a submitted, when I say submitted, it was posted publicly. The person asked me if I would run it, but was effectively requested. Because it tied, I decided to run it before it gets any more out of date from patches. Try to get this run done. Yeah, this end turn is taking well. We've seen 5 things done by the AI. So one of the AIs next to us is active. I think that's one of the territories. And we should probably have enough reconnaissance on the other ones to know what they are. Round 2, we have 4 decisions. Parade show their strength and loyalty. Militia Parade, obviously, probably want to spend money on this, but come back to that. We're going to go 50-50. Usually I find I don't need more than 50% invested in the Supreme Command Council. Obviously, this is going to piss the Council off and make the Economic happy, but although we haven't actually assigned anyone to get happy from that. Org decision who we're going to put in charge. We've got 2 Counselor choices. You and you. You're worse in the job to start, but you'll get better faster. You already have Inventor. And that's why they're better in the job, because it's an Inventor is one of the job types. For the Eco Council, we're going to go with the person who's going to get better faster.
Order received.
The other one might end up in charge of the Model Design Council. For the moment, we're going to leave those balanced, and then we're going to focus discovery over research.
Order received.
Come back to the money. Okay, so we didn't get any reinforcements as far as the militia are concerned. And I did not get enough intel on the territories to know what sort of territories there were. And I haven't pulled any spy cars yet. That's a shame. Ooh, Strain Solver is always nice to get. I'll be wanting enough points for that. Don't want to make any of my current counselors... Oh, in fact, none of mine are smart enough to become dumb. So I can't use that as a fate point to get Strain Solver. We'll want Strain Solver. I might seek to replace this guy at some point, in which case we don't necessarily want to put it on him, but... Okay, there wasn't anything that hex, that's good to know. Presumably because they're in that hex. Okay. And there's a lot in that hex. 34 free folk marauders. We want to secure out to 3, so we want that hex. Okay. Okay, so we know those guys are the slavers. And they have decent ability to hide in the savannah here. Does the savannah provide some hide points? Not that I'm initially seeing there, but... Okay. Got decent water, and we are getting water in from the rain. So we got food coming in, water coming in, petrol coming in. Do want to spend some construction points on roads, and what else? What can I get price-wise for selling? That's a good price for the rare earth metals. We'll go ahead and sell those off for the moment.
Wilco.
And then we are food positive, so I'm tempted to sell some food. With the logic being trying to get up to... Oh, that's 6. So I actually have enough, so let's do that. Maximize the militia bonus. Maximize the militia bonus so we can hopefully get some more volunteers in for the militia. And we're at max militancy level, and we like it to stay there. Meantime, we probably do want to do some road construction. I'm going to want to cross over this river, for example, so let's just do a road like that, and a road like that. And then now we can see the operational logistics where we're getting our bonuses and penalties. And yeah, we're going to need more troops, especially with how badly the militia got mauled. Just walking into the people. Slavers. Okay, so we know these guys are slavers because we run into their troops. The Ramiran Slaver Task Force. So we'll have to be a little bit careful. If we get some lucky rolls with them, we can potentially buy slaves off of them. We'll see what we get dealt. We did go mined, so in the long run it's going to be hard to maintain the militancy in the zone. Because the only type that I find has a reliable capacity to maintain militancy is Fist. And maybe if I knew more about the map ahead of time, it would have probably been better to go Fist. With the fact that we know we've always got slavers next to us, but a little too late for that. And in many ways, we're hoping for really no surprises here over these end turns. Other than about 2 hexes in the northeast and 3 hexes in the northwest. We have all the hexes we really want early on. Because we don't necessarily need a lot of territory while we're setting up our early government. Okay, so we lost a hex that we'd rather have. At least up until now, that's what we've seen. At least in our little neighborhood. This is a, I believe, max-sized planet. There is a lot of hexes on this planet. So there's a lot of things that could be going on that we don't see. Okay, looks like it's coming around to us. We have one decision on round 3. We can claim or export or intelligence expert. We're going to go intelligence expert.
Wilco.
Because we've gone merit. We might as well contact...
Order received.
the Maritime Trading House. Okay. So that's kind of, other than this border up here, everything's kind of going according to plan. As far as getting the opening hex. Any improvement in the prospecting? No. So that's concerning, because we've got a definite fight on our hands to get that hex. Although we did get the ruins, so we got a nice ruin here. How much does it cost to set up a fort? Quite a bit. 400 metal and 320 industry. Although this is a planet where there's a good likelihood that the port will actually make food for us. Either way, I don't have the industry yet for it. Militia size is up. Militia maximum size is up. Current size is down. Manpower was deployed to the militia. Okay, so some of our units are regenerating after the earlier fumbles. And other than the card we played, I don't think we got anything to do. So it's a bit of a boring turn. But we're cycling the turn again. kind of also waiting for some of the cards to pop. Like to probably successfully roll archaeology at least once to know whether or not the ruin has any artifacts in it. It probably doesn't. But I'd like to know, because if it does, then we don't want to be, you know, harvesting artifacts from it before we find out. I think we are going to wait until we get a full brigade deployed at our 500 recruiting rate. If I was more paranoid about things going pear-shaped, I could up the recruiting to get more troops deployed. But right now, I don't think our starting troops probably do not have the combat capacity to attack at least against slavers that are actually hiding from us. Getting ambushed by slavers is going to be a bloodbath one way or the other. And the basic troops are just not going to be tanky enough to do anything about that. Although we might be in padded environments, in which case that would change a little bit. I believe the padded armor provides like 20 millimeters of armor protection. Hello, Twitch chat. Thanks for calling it a cool game. Hope you enjoy the run. It's a little bit of a slow start on this planet, I'm thinking is going to be the case. And it's a Colossal planet, so the turn rolls are a little bit slow. I think this is a planet with 10 other major nations, so a bit slow. And we're having our territory violated again. Okay. I think that's pretty much all we're going to get to see for this end turn. I think we've already rolled past all the nations next to us, all the territories next to us. Okay, they're attacking us and we're holding. I'm surprised we're getting attacked by them. Rolling up against the non-aligned forces, no casualties taken. So it is a good thing we've got the biggest unit there. I think any of the others might have a little bit of a problem trying to hold that, but... We killed 4 in infantry over the end turn, no casualties. Round 4, we have 3 decisions winning us. One of which is the message with the Maritime Trading House. Ask us to help in the feasts. We have the money, although I need the money for interacting with the trade house. And offer to buy slaves. Okay, so I need to find some money to buy things.
We'll go.
How much fuel are we using at a given time? 7 going out to units, 25 delivered from zone. Okay, so let's, I'm gonna sell some oil.
We'll go.
Tempted to sell some food. So at this point I got enough money, we are gonna buy the slaves.
Sir, yes, sir.
One reason is this raises the opinion of the slavers, which makes them less likely to violate our borders. Doesn't mean they won't violate our borders, just means they're less likely to. And then I need 200 to interact with the Maritime Training House. Yeah, with the number of cards we're getting, I think we're probably actually... We might actually be on epic game speed here. Epic development speed here. Did that say that in the help? I don't think so. Don't know a good way to check that. Okay, so I want to sell some more stuff off because I want some more money. Don't want to sell any more fuel off. How much does cycling plant cost metal-wise? 100. Okay. So I want to hold on to at least 100 metal. Got 286, so I could sell off to 186.
Wilco.
Okay. And then that means I can establish contact with you. And I can pay for you. And then setting up you... Well, you also cost 2 machine parts, so... that'll take a while to save up for. And then more industry than we have, yeah. Okay. So in the low forest cliffs here, low forest area, we weren't able to reclaim those just by moving a guy over there. I don't want to move the guy off the capital right now because we'd run the risk of losing the capital. And no other real interesting cards. Metal of Merit is probably the best of the cards we've got right now. And I'm not sure I'm going to keep our governor long-term. If we were going to keep the governor long-term, I'd probably Metal of Merit the governor. But we'll just cycle the turn then because of that. So yeah, we know one group is slavers. We have raised the opinion of those slavers a little bit. We don't know what the other 4 territories are. It might be 3 territories. I think it's 3 territories and non-aligned territory. I think this too is non-aligned. This is a territory, this is a territory, and this up here is a territory. So three more territories in addition to the slavers. I think this was all one non-aligned territory. Obviously, we've broken it into 2 bits at this point. Slow in turn. These can be... When there's not much to see, these can be a little bit boring. Especially when we got big long turns like this. Would I like to keep that hex? That was free folk that could migrate into our town. It's flicked through all the territories, so I think at this point we're just waiting for to calculate last few that we can't see. Okay, we're getting attacked by the non-aligned. And we held. Attacked twice by the non-aligned and holding. So this time we killed 500 instead of 400. And right now I think the non-aligned can only wander into us. So we're probably going to get attacked over and over and over again. Until they basically become combat incapable. We killed 500 infantry. We have 2 decisions. Goal for the BP production could each 80. Soldiers and morale, or number of hexes of the recon.
Sorry,
I'm gonna go
yes,
the recon
sorry.
one. They're recruiting our population. We're just gonna let them do it for the moment.
Copy that.
Mine's fine. Then cards. We did good covert ops. What do I want to know? So we know you are slavers. At this point, the slavers are actually cut us off from the mutants. Okay, so we know those are mutants. Slavers, mutants, we don't know, and not aligned. Let's figure out who the 1 to our right is. And if we can successfully get the spies in, that will let us know.
Sir, yes, sir.
Spies infiltrated, so next turn we should know what that neighbor is. And this is a contract, so we'd have to pay for it, so I'm not gonna push that. It's not like getting contact with them, which I wanted to have. So we're in communications with them, that's all we need. In 2 more turns, I'm going to be tempted to raise a brigade of... a brigade of light infantry. Which at that point we should be able to afford. What's our model type of infantry right now? Slug thrower in virus suit. Okay, so it's not the padded one. I think the virus suit is still better than nothing, so that is a leg up. But this doesn't provide any armor, if that makes sense. Not that the first one really provides enough armor. Anyway, to be really considered armor against most of the penetration weapons, but select thrower carbine. Okay, so theory we're running this. So select thrower and carbine, or select thrower and virus suit. We could get a 50% power increase if we picked up the Model Design Council and designed a model. That's going to be off a little bit in the future. Danger is diminishing because we've kept them out to these 2 hexes out. Would be better if there were 3 out. But it is what it is. 17% cult following. Exactly what the Mystic Temple is doing. Well, the answer might not be big enough to do anything, but private assets, hidden economy, salary spending, buying luxuries and service tax. Okay. Let me look at the cult. Cults and sex. One cult, 70% of the population. Private bonus. Increases the production of private assets where it concerns items and private credits and food. Okay. So in theory, we're getting a little bit more food. And with that, let's go ahead and cycle the turn. Not much to do here. I'll then panic a little bit, maybe, because about the situation not being the best. So for the Shadow Empire portion of the stream tonight, we're only going to have one part being recorded for YouTube. And I think it's going to be about an hour long. So this might be the last end turn of this part. And we'll probably play out one more turn. Although, again, this is other than it being a bit of a slow start, because there's not much that we can do with our limited resources here. Other than be conservative with them to some degree. Or, well, it could be reckless and we could be losing half the army, which would be bad. Half the militia, that would be bad. Slow start. Not necessarily an uninteresting start. Once we have enough metal, we can probably set up a dock and get some food in that way. We've got a fairly large ruin that we can go ahead and gather fuel, metal, and oil from. Well, fuel as well. Gather oil, metal, and rare earth metals from. We have a volcano, which in the mid-game will be real cool. Volcanic energy tapping is always nice. Especially when you got lots of water. I think the main input for that is obviously a volcano and water. And it's a green map, so if we're desperate for early game power, we can always just burn some trees. We can go all Sauron on the map. Saruman. Go full Saruman on the map and just start burning trees down. Burn down the forest. And we lost another hex. Oh, I forgot. Here we got the spies in, so we should have been able to see what what type of territory that was. don't like that we don't have necessarily enough reconnaissance to actually see what's in hexes immediately adjacent to us. That's always somewhat annoying. We don't know which regime is thinking. Okay, so now we're not on the line. The unline is attacking us. I think we only got attacked once. I don't think we inflicted any losses. We didn't take any, I think, either. Okay, so round 6, we have one decision. Slaves raiding in progress. We can minimize the damage or declare war, both of which are probably bad options. Okay, so we got slavers on both sides. That's a struggle. So these guys are raiding. That's what's going on. Maybe you should buy some slaves with us to help us from rapid. You have to sell them to us before we can buy them from you, you person. We're gonna minimize the damage just because I don't think we're in a situation where we can necessarily fight everyone. Well, we can't fight them all at the same time, at least. That's where they are. Okay. At this point, I basically have enough manpower, and I think really I can't get away with delaying any longer. I need to start raising the infantry. There goes all our industry. And we didn't even get a full stack of light infantry. They're about 70% full. I think I'm going to go on one more end turn. So we're going to cycle the turn. We're going to try to get these guys out into line formation, and we'll see what happens. I think our spy reports are basically telling us there's another volcano over here. And that's roughly the shape of the slavers' territory. As can sometimes be the case with these end turns, if nothing is going on that you can see, they can be a bit boring. Especially on large maps like this. As the run gets properly underway, this should get better, and a little bit less boring, hopefully. But for the moment, we're kind of... If anything's interesting going on, it's maybe not a good thing, which is a weird thing to say in a video. And that's bad. So those slavers are being complete a-holes. If I get lucky, we may be able to get them to leave our territory without any... Well, I say my territory. The territory that we'd like to be ours, because at this point, half of it isn't. Without having to shoot at them, because I don't necessarily want to be spending our precious troops fighting slavers this early on. Killed 300 infantry of the non-aligned over the intern. We have 3 decisions on round 7. I'm not going to pay credits for that, so we'll just take the morale point bonus. One of the slavers are trying to sell us slaves. This is actually the one that already sold us slaves, so it's these guys up here again, so that's good. Unit decision, commander, yeah.
Roger that.
See if you can scrape together enough money.
Wilco.
I suspect the answer may be no. How much do I need? 320? Okay, let's use the industry first on getting replacements deployed. Okay, so that's all the industry can support. Yeah, we'll sell some metal off. 34. Probably not enough.
Wilco.
Although I could probably sell 112 fuel if we were really desperate.
Wilco.
Which only gave me 41 credits. Okay, so that's just enough to get those slaves.
Sir.
Well, kind of hoping these guys don't declare war on us, because they could just come swinging at the capital, and that would be bad. We're kind of hoping that they'll move away. They probably aren't, because that would be too nice. Drat. Okay, so they're in that hex. That's one of those situations where it's annoying to have the other team be super, super stealthy. So when you're not even trying to shoot at them and you walk into them face first. Okay, well, look at the time. We've had this part run for about an hour. This is probably where I should put the part break in and end the stream. If you're watching on YouTube, we will, assuming everything goes according to plan, have another part up for you by tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, this is effectively the second part of the stream for the night. So the second stream for the night. The first stream was the finishing up of Free Call. We'll be playing this again in 4 days. Tomorrow we'll be starting up a run on Humankind. We're going to turn up the difficulty versus where we were last time, and also try to play a little bit more militarily aggressive. Monday will be Terra Invicta, possibly the last stream in Terra Invicta. As at this point we're starting to make moves out into the Kuiper Belt. I think the aliens are only down to like about 4 fleets. So if everything continues the way that it's going, the aliens are basically going to run out of the capacity to sort of sally forth from their main base, and we may very rapidly put it under siege. Tuesdays, the day after tomorrow, day after tomorrow, will be Farthest Frontier. We're going to go for Tier 5 housing and a wonder. We've already got Tier 4 housing, so that shouldn't be too hard to do. Sorry about the stopping conversation there. I ended up having to sneeze. I felt that you probably did not want to hear that. If we end up finishing up Farthest Frontier early, much like we did Shadow Empire today, we'll start up Strategic Command World War I after Farthest Frontier. We're going to do the Cold Arms campaign, which is basically the sort of standard World War I campaign. Probably going to play as the Axis, or as the Central Power side instead of the Allies. Might eventually play both sides, but we're gonna start as the Central Powers. And I did, over the break I had with the family, play one run through on that by myself. So I'm pretty sure we should be able to show how you can go ahead and win as the Central Powers in Strategic Command World War I, at least on sort of the intermediate difficulty. Now, the method that I'm going to play might not be a way to win on max difficulty, but at least against the AI on sort of balanced difficulty, it works. And then the day after that will, of course, been 4 days from now, which will be when we pick up Shadow Empire. If you're watching on YouTube and want to see any of the stat menus that I didn't necessarily bring up for any of the turns, feel free to let me know. We can always load any of the autosaves or this end of stream save to go look at those stats for you in more detail. Same thing for Twitch. If you're watching on Twitch and you want to see any of that stuff, feel free to let me know. I'm going to leave the stream up for about a minute after in the YouTube recording to respond to any of your comments. If you're watching and have any comments you want responded to, feel free, or want me to respond to, feel free to let me know. And with that, that's the upcoming schedule. If you're watching on Twitch, sorry for this being a one-parter, but effectively we had 4 parts of Free Call earlier in the night. I was expecting Free Call to go a little bit faster. I was also expecting this run to start a little bit faster. The state of being sandwiched between a couple of slavers here is a little troublesome. We'll see how that goes. So until next time, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.